I'm sure you've heard the news. There's a place where magic is real. Welcome to Egyptian Eyes. Step into a realm where the mystical meets the everyday. At Egyptian Eyes, our shelves are adorned with shimmering crystals, each one a gateway to healing and transformation. Cleanse your spirit with the purifying smoke of sage and discover jewelry that does more than just sparkle. It speaks to your soul. But that's not all. Our custom tea bar is a sanctuary within a sanctuary. Craft your own blends infused with the ancient wisdom of Egypt and sip your way to a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. Join a community of seekers and dreamers, all gathering to share their stories and journeys. Here, every visit is a step on your personal path of enlightenment. So why wait? Embark on your mystical journey today at Egyptian Eyes. Unveil the wonders that await you. Your spiritual adventure is just a visit away. Visit us now and let the magic unfold.
All right, guys, welcome back to Egyptian Eyes After Dark. I am your host, Destiny, and Egyptian Eyes After Dark focuses on where ancient wisdom meets today. So I have a special guest in the building. We're going to be chatting with Shaman Rah of Oracle's Touch. And as you guessed it, he's a shaman. We've never had one before, so I'm so excited to tell you a little bit about him. So let's start with his bio. With over 13 years of experience as a practicing shaman, he has been called by spirit to guide individuals along their life and spiritual journeys. His teachings revolve around the profound significance of self-love and the transformative power of love when harnessed correctly. Through leading guided meditations for over 11 years, he has assisted numerous individuals in finding their path to inner peace and balance, recognizing that meditation is the key to self-mastery. Over the last decade, he has performed countless spiritual clearings, witnessing a wide spectrum of experiences from the beautiful to the challenging. Each encounter has imparted invaluable wisdom, emphasizing the profound interconnections of giving and receiving. It has underscored the incredible energy of love and its transformative capacity in all interactions. As a life coach, he specializes in helping clients initiate and adapt to their ever-evolving levels of consciousness within themselves and the broader community. He educates you to embrace limitless thinking, paving the way for transformative change, one thought at a time. Mentalism and meditation are the core components of this transformative process. Some of his accomplishments include a doctorate of divinity in spiritual healing, certified consulting hypnosist at the National Guild of Hypnosis, certified practitioner of timeless therapy, certified NLP practitioner, certified NLP coach, certified life coach, creator of polarity therapy, Reiki master, meditation instructor, ordained minister, second generation shaman, initiated by spirit, initiated in Peru, teaching and mentoring hundreds of students, over 160 recorded guided meditations. He's released 2 music albums streaming on all major platforms, Journey and Oneness Light Codes, television shows streaming on Mystic Circle TV and Divine Expressions. Oracle's Touch is here to empower you on your journey of self-discovery, self-mastery, and the realization of your highest potential. Together, they can help you transform one thought at a time and elevate your collective consciousness through the profound energy of love and enlightenment. All I have to say is, wow, that man's bio is longer than the encyclopedia. And guess what? He probably knows more than what's in that encyclopedia. So, without waiting any longer, let me bring our friend Shaman Rah in the building. Hey there.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. So happy to be here to join your podcast, just to talk about spirituality, because I love to educate people and give people information. It's all about understanding our truth and creating solutions. Yes. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you on the show. This is going to be extremely exciting. My audience loves to meet new people. And I just want to start with this because during my walk, I bring a lot of newcomers to spirituality and awakening, in touch with what's happening. So I'd love to interview you all because you're, like-minded wellness professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things or some of the guests I bring on, my audience has never heard of or is unfamiliar with. So
Okay.
why don't we start with, what is a shaman?
Oh, that's a great question. I get that a lot. So let me tell you really, really simply what a shaman is.
Okay.
In short words, a shaman is a person who's able to bridge the spiritual and the physical, to bridge the gap between the two. So we understand the physical existence, we understand the 3D world, and we're living in it every day. We operate in it. We operate through the 5 senses. However, there's a spiritual side which goes into the 6th sense, and I like to call that the true heart. So when we go into that 6th sense, we're going into a space that's not tangible. We don't have the 5 senses. We can't touch, we can't feel, we can't taste, we can't hear, we can't smell. But what we can do is we can begin to understand and remember in those spaces. So what I do is I'm able to go into trance through different modalities, whether it be sound frequencies, whether it be medicines or meditations. I go into a trance, a shamanic trance, and I basically tap into another universe. And then I bring information back so that I can help people to get on their journey and heal. I don't like saying heal sometimes, but it's helping people to understand their true self. And love is the key. If we can go through the energy of love, then we can make everything happen. And love is not always love and light and fluffy. Love sometimes can be tough, so I bring that energy and the messages of love to the client or to the person that is looking for it. So that's what a shaman does. A shaman basically goes in, and we're taught by spirits. We're not taught by necessarily human beings. A spirit comes into us and it says, this is how you work with a medicine. This is how you work with meditation. This is how you work with a sound frequency. These are the sounds you put together to create this aspect or this effect. So the shaman is someone who basically now has to completely believe in everything that's happening, because we don't have anyone that we can actually bounce off of and say, hey, am I doing this right? So shamanism is the whitewater rafting of the spiritual modalities, because the spirit is our teacher. And then when we tap into that, it's really the higher self that's teaching us how to become and be at the same time.
Understood. Wow. That's probably the best explanation I've ever got for what that is, because when I hear shaman, I think of a man, with birds and a drum, and he's in the woods, which I guess some of that's your thing, but
But that is what we appear to be. But what we're doing with the drums and in the woods with the birds and the animals, we're tapping into the animal frequencies, and we're using their energies to move us through earth, the air, the sky, the wind, the fire. We're using all of these things, the elements, so that we can actually get answers for you and bring back healing. Shaman are supposed to be protecting the community, protecting people by going into another space and bringing back information. And that can be through the earth, it can be through fire, it can be water, it can be through air, and it can be through spirit. And you see shaman in the woods, and we're in the woods because that's where we're in our natural element. That is where we have the highest vibration, because we're grounded in nature. And nature teaches us, I can sit with the trees and the trees begin to talk to me. I can sit and the wind will begin to talk to me. I can sit with the animals will begin to communicate with me, and they'll tell me what I need to know, the animal spirits too. So it's very, very different. So yes, you do see us doing that, and you will see me sometimes in nature, and I look really shamanistic, but for the most part, it's I'm urban, I'm in the city. So I actually am sitting with the elements of the city and helping people to understand this aspect versus the jungle. This is the concrete jungle. So it's helping people to understand what's going on here. Yeah.
So am I right in thinking, back in the day, and I'm talking, before Western medicine came in and took over, wouldn't people just go see a shaman when they weren't feeling well? There was no real doctor. Would you just go to a shaman?
Yeah, they would. And now let's just take it a little bit deeper, because in Egypt, they had some of the most modern sciences for actual medicine and for healing. And you got to realize, back in those times, it was about healing. It wasn't about treating. And the shaman would actually go to herbs and create medicines that would counteract certain illnesses, or they would be able to go into a spirit world and they would be able to ask a spirit what this person needs, and they would give it to the person. But the person believed wholeheartedly in that. You read in my bio, I talked about mentalism. Mentalism is basically the aspect of us going into a mental mindset that we understand that we are equal, and understanding that we are just as powerful as co-creators with God. And we understand that aspect. And when we understand nature, we understand our natural self, and we understand God. So when we're in that mindset of nature can heal us, God can heal us through the spirit, then the work was actually easier to do, and it worked a lot more efficiently and proficiently. But now you got modern medicine and say, no, that stuff doesn't work. And it's deep in the subconscious that we don't believe that the holistic ways can work. But now they're actually beginning to see they do work. But again, that's healing versus treating. Yeah.
Which, of course, it's not really good for business.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We can treat
everything has its place and its purpose. But as far as what we're doing as shaman, we're trying to correct and give solutions to the problems. We're not trying to put a Band-Aid on things. We're trying to actually resolve
what's wrong. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how did you know that this was your calling? Like, you were initiated twice, it sounds like, once in Peru, which I think is incredible. For those of you who know a little bit about this, that's a big deal. So how did you know, like, this is what you were going to do? Or did someone do you like they did me, where they like come and get you and like tell you, hey, wake up?
I wish. No, the spirit woke me up at night, knocking on my consciousness and said, boy, get up, stop playing. And you need to start doing these things. And I literally overnight just woke up, and I became very conscious and understanding life needed to change. For me, that opening came from a difficult relationship. And what happened was that relationship showed me the darkness of myself, the darknesses I had been hiding from, that I had been basically camouflaging and saying I was a good person. And I wasn't this terrible being, but I wasn't this great person either. And I had some flaws that needed to be fixed. And this relationship showed me every one of those flaws. And I decided at that point, let me just sit back and leave relationships alone, because I need to figure out this relationship right here.
With yourself.
That's how my whole practice started. I started beginning to search myself and understand myself so that I can understand the relationship with me, my relationship with God, my relationship with nature. And I began to meditate. And that was the first step. I just learned to meditate. And once I learned to meditate, I started going to all these different places, and these spirits would come to me and they would show me things and talk to me. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then all of a sudden I just had the ability to see and understand things that people didn't understand. And no human being taught me how to do that. It was just the spirit awakened what was something that was inside of me. And I just started building on that. And meditation was my first key. It was teaching people to meditate, because that's what got me into the space where I was actually able to tap into my higher self and my spirit guides. And when you look at it, we have spirit guides, we have angelic beings, we have deities, we have all these things, and we're initiated to these things. But these things that we're initiated to, these energies, these deities, we're actually embodied with them already. And so the initiation helps you to wake up and remember their power that is already inside of you. When you're meditating, I learned to meditate and understand that we are already embodied with each of the deities, and each of those deities' energies are in us. When we're initiated to the deities, all we're doing is waking up what's already inside of us. And then instead of being one deity, you become all the deities at one time. That's why I said we shall be better than he. And when Christ was teaching that we should be better, then that's what he was showing us, that we can embody the energies of God, the gods, the deities, the ascended masters, the angels. We have the ability as human beings to embody everything, because we are a thought of the Most High. And we are actually put on this earth as a human being to give the Most High the physical experience through the five senses that it is actually thinking. And so that gets kind of deep into the philosophy of how I teach and how I help people to understand you are the extension of God, and God is an extension of you. So we're learning through God, and God is learning through us. And
is that your main philosophy?
Yes, it is. And that, and understanding that self-love and understanding ourselves, truly authentically expressing who we are, that is my main philosophy. But that expression comes with a knowledge of mentalism. And mentalism is the first of the 7 Hermetic principles. But mentalism means that we have to understand that we are an extension of God. We are not God itself, but we are extensions of God. And so therefore we have the same power as God. And that is my main philosophy through mentalism, through the 7 Hermetic principles. And using the 7 Hermetic principles allows us to actually navigate through this 3rd dimensional world if we can understand them, because they are full of the universal laws, and everything goes along with the universal law until you master them, and then you become the law, and then you laugh the law to scorn.
Makes sense. It's very deep, but it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So who needs your services? Like, when do I wake up and go, you know what? I need to go see a shaman.
You know, if you wake up and you're feeling a little off and you don't really understand what's happening in your life, and you keep getting caught in these loops that are putting you back or setting you back and creating this discord in your life, that's when you would reach out to me. That's when you would reach out to a shaman. Now, every shaman has a different philosophy, but for me, it's helping people to break those loops. It's helping people to understand the loops are coming from the subconscious thought processes that you have, and breaking those subconscious thought processes allows you to basically leave the loop. Now, there's many different ways I help people with that. There are certain medicines that I use. There's sound therapy that I use. There is meditation that I use. I do something called an energy reset, where I actually clear your aura field. I use sound frequencies, tones, drumming, hand pans, flutes to basically clear everything, align and balance the chakras, and then raise your vibration. And at that point, I connect you into your higher self. And from there, you begin to get your own messages. So
well, that's awesome.
Someone who is looking for change in their life, someone who is going through discord, someone who feels like they're being spiritually attacked, then you would call me. Then I can help you with that.
So you said something earlier and you were like, you had to, and it's freezing up a little bit, but it's good now.
Okay.
So you mentioned earlier, you had to really get to know yourself. So you always hear these things and they sound so cliche, know yourself. And people go, well, I know who I am. So can you break that down a little bit? And do you think you can elaborate on how does one really know themselves?
Of course. You know, one thing that we talk about in my practice is knowing thyself, and you know thyself by looking at your reflections, looking at the world around you. That is the number one way you can know that you know yourself, because if yourself is reflecting peacefulness, then that's what's on the inside of you. If you're reflecting discord, if you're seeing problems and issues happening in your life and around other people in their lives, then that is basically showing you who you are on the inside. That's when you begin to know yourself. So you have to know yourself by asking certain questions. There is shadow work that I teach to help people to ask those specific questions, to go in to find out if they're actually expressing authentically or if they're expressing to be accepted. And that's when you begin to understand and know yourself, when you are expressing authentically and not expressing to be accepted. And the biggest shadow comes from wanting and desiring to be accepted. And we all have it in ourselves, in our Akash somewhere. So knowing thyself means you know when you're actually acting out of authenticity or you're acting out of the hope for someone to accept you. And then you begin to become someone different. Think about it. People get up in the morning, they go to work, they put one face on. They leave work and they go out and hang with their buddies, they put another face on. Then they come home with their family, they put another face on. So you're basically being three different people, and you don't want either one of those people to bleed over into someone else. When you're doing that, you're not being your authentic self. So who are you authentically? Now, if you're doing those three things, you're adding those three pictures or three faces to your life. Look at your world around you. Look at the discord. Look at you not living your truth and how your truth is showing up to you as you not living your truth. Look at how many false situations or untruths are told around you. Look at the environment. Look at your closest relationships and see how they're actually acting out, because the relationships are going to begin to show you what's actually on the inside of you. And if you're hiding from who you are, you're going to get someone that's hiding from who they are, and they're going to be deceiving you a lot of times. Deception is going to be really deep in your relationships or in your life. So when you understand who you are, you begin to see yourself in everyone else, and you begin to see how they're acting, how they're being. Then you understand, oh, that's who I am. So that's the easiest way. You know, that's probably an unorthodox way to really look at it, but that is the easiest way to see if you're being authentically who you are, is look at your reflections, look at your environment, look at your relationships, look at what's happening around you, and you'll see if you're being yourself. And the other thing is, when you get up in the morning and you can truly say, wow, I love myself, man, I'm special. When you do that, you know you're expressing. When you do things, and you doing, and people, you don't care what people think. When you actually just act yourself, that's when you know you're being yourself. And sometimes it feels a little uncomfortable because when you act as yourself, people begin to judge you. Now, when you know you're being yourself and you're in yourself, the judgment doesn't bother you because you're being who you are. And then what happens, that judgment disappears because you start to attract people that enjoy who you are authentically. And that's when you know you're yourself. Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, you mentioned earlier, did you say you also teach how to meditate?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So on your website, you guys, you have to check out that website. I had it panning at the bottom of the screen. It's Oracle's Touch. The classes and the services he offers is longer than the bio, of course. like this man offers like 60 different types of classes, maybe 70. It's definitely something. And I'm pointing this out because I do get so many customers in the shop that want to know about classes, and we don't really offer a lot here at the moment. And so I get a lot of healers or newbie healers that want to learn how to do these things or just want to better themselves. So definitely check out the website, you guys, and look at the services. Please. So for meditations, do you feel like everybody should meditate every single day?
I think they should, but however, let me define meditation.
Okay.
Meditation is deep focus. So I think everybody should go into some type of deep focus every day, because when you go into deep focus and stillness, what happens is you begin to see your true self. So yes, I believe everybody should do it. Now, do you have to sit up for 30, 45 minutes, an hour? No, you don't have to do that. No, you don't have to do that. You can actually do a 10-second, 2-minute meditation, 5-minute meditation, where you can actually just quiet your mind, sit in stillness. The other thing is breath work. If you learn to breathe, then you can learn to meditate. If you learn to breathe and focus just on your breath, that is a form of meditation. Breath begins to heal the body, and it begins to heal the body in a way that we don't really consciously understand if we're just breathing, if we don't understand breath work. But if we just take slow, deep breaths and fill our bodies with oxygen, our bodies begin to rejuvenate itself. That's like sitting in nature. That's like grounding yourself. That's like giving yourself an ability or giving yourself a reboot. It's allowing yourself to really focus. But yes, everyone needs to meditate, and meditation can be done in many different ways. I teach meditation in a way that is easy because I want you to get into the most comfortable position, and I want you to just listen to my voice and let me take you on a journey. And the journey could be 5 minutes, or the journey could be an hour and a half. It just depends on what we're doing. But meditation does not take a lot of time, and it's not hard. The first thing to learn is breath work, just breathing in. And this is a key thing you can do just to reset your nervous system every day. Breathe in 7 counts, hold your breath 4 counts, breathe out 8 counts. Do that 8 times a day, and you will literally begin to reset your nervous system so that it can begin to align itself to link up with your higher self, going down the spinal cord, and you begin to create different chemicals and hormones in your body that bring you into balance. And everything is about balance. Again, so you don't want to get so wrapped up into meditation. You got to do this 5-6 hours a day. It needs to be done so that you can begin to focus on what you have to do every day in life.
And what was the freebie you gave the audience? You said an 8 count. What they need to do?
Oh, let me give it to you again. So the freebie it's a simple thing. This is 8 times. You breathe. You do this breath 8 times. It's all it takes. 8 times a day. You're going to breathe in through your nose 7 counts, and then you're going to hold your breath 4 counts. Then you're going to breathe out through your mouth 8 counts. And you're going to repeat that 8 times total, and that will reset the nervous system. Your physical body will begin to change. You begin to regulate a lot of things in your body, whether it be blood pressure, diabetes, sugar, your cholesterol levels. Everything will begin to balance out. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't make these claims. It's just,
I'll be thinking y'all gonna get healed breathing now.
Breath work helps so much. Everybody's results are going to be different. So what you want to do is breathe, but it literally will go into the nervous system and help you to relax. Just breathing deeply will relax your body. It allows your brain to go into a relaxed state, a stillness state, where you can begin to produce the hormones that need to be produced in your body, released in your body, so that you can heal. So breathing, and whenever I do energy work with people, the first thing we do is start with breath. And that breath begins to open you up so that you can be ready and cognitive of and conscious of what's coming.
Now, thank you for sharing that. So we mentioned you can't heal nobody by just breathing. That's the step.
Right.
But let's talk about this plant medicine.
Okay.
There's a lot of misconception about it.
Right.
What is your take on it? How do you use it, and what we need to do?
Okay. So let's get into this with the plant medicine, because so many people use it recreationally and they use it without intents. So the first thing, whenever you're doing any type of plant medicine, this can go from rapé to tobacco to blue lotus to cacao. You can even go to the heavier medicines, the mushrooms, the ayahuasca, the bufo. All of these medicines are designed to work with you. And I'm going to say that again, they're designed to work with you. They don't do the healing, okay? They facilitate a space to let you open up to begin to heal yourself, because you are the healer. So what happens is, when you're taking these medicines, the first thing you should do is you should set an intent. And that intent should be based upon what you're looking to heal within yourself. And then what the medicine does is the medicine begins to clear you. Like, for example, I say rapé. Rapé is a tobacco. And when rapé is administered, it's administered through the nose, and it basically clears everything within your body. Some people will purge from it. Some people don't purge from it. But what happens is the medicine begins to open up the senses within yourself and clears everything out. So now your intention that you set, that you prayed upon before you even started the ceremony, then begins to come into your awareness, and how to heal or how to realign the body begins to show up. And it goes with all medicines. When you set the intent, you say the prayers, and then you go into the ceremony, a sacred ceremony, you begin to then meditate, quiet your mind. Then what happens is the medicine begins to work with you and shows you how to achieve the intention that you set. I'm going to say that again. It shows you how to achieve the intention that you set. And once it's achieved, or once you see it, now you have to actually come out of the ceremony and you have to begin to do the work. So the medicine aligns you to the healing, but now you have to begin to do the work. Now, if you're strong enough in your intent and you believe enough that the medicine will do the work for you, because you're willing for it to do the work and you're willing to stay in that space, sometimes the medicine will do the work for you during the ceremony, and it will actually allow you to go into that healed state. But now you have to stay in the healed state. And the only way to stay in the healed state is to actually continue to live in a righteous manner. When I say righteous, that's being your authentic self. So whoever you are authentically, not that person that's creating shadows, or not the person that's being accepted, but the person who you truly are. And you begin to get on that spiritual path of awareness and acceptance of self and self-love, and you master yourself. That healing stays with you. And then you begin to expand beyond that healing, and you go out further. That's what the whole purpose of the soul is, to experience its authenticity as a human being in this lifetime.
So you mentioned a ton of different plant medicines. I mean, I know you know a lot more. But some of those, I've actually heard of them being ceremonies themselves. You mentioned ayahuasca, you mentioned bufo. Are these things people can come to you for to do a ceremony?
Well, if they come to me for those two, they got to go out of country with me. So I do facilitate those, but I do them in Peru, in other countries. So I do have retreats, usually 2 or 3 a year, while I will do different medicines. And it just depends. I have a whole community that I work with is down in Peru that is very special. And we do many different medicines down there for people. Ayahuasca is one of them. Wachuma is another one. Wachuma is great for opening the heart. Ayahuasca is the mother. Wachuma is the father. Here I use sacred tobacco. I use rapé. I use blue lotus. And I use cacao. And those medicines can be just as powerful. They're just not hallucinogens, or they're not psychedelics. So you don't have to have the psychedelic experience. You can actually do breath work deep enough to get the psychedelic experience. You know, that's what people have to understand. If they're looking for medicines, you can use your breath to create the actual same impact or same feeling of the medicine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so profound. I didn't know you could do that. So because you have a community here and in Peru, for my audience that is United States bound, what all, and I know there's a lot, so to the best of your ability, let's try to think of some things that you could offer my clients now, or my audience now.
Sure. There's rapé ceremonies. There are blue lotus ceremonies, cacao ceremonies, tobacco ceremonies. I can offer all of those for healing and helping people to go into that next level of understanding themselves. So those are things that we would do, but it's very ceremonial. And then the other thing is sound. That's one of the things that I've mastered, is understanding frequencies and sound. So when you add the frequencies in the prayers and the spirits, you add those into the actual medicines, into the cacao, into the blue lotus. When you begin to put that energy into them, they begin to act differently upon the person. Then the administrator, when I take the medicines, then what happens is I link into every soul that I'm actually in the room with. And then I begin to play and do healing energies and meditations for each individual person. But those we can definitely do. And even drum circles. We do open community drum circles, and those are a lot of fun, where the drumming actually puts you into a trance and you can actually have an experience. We've had people in drum circles literally just fall over because they get caught up into the trance, and there might be 20 or 30 people drumming, and all of a sudden you see people just looking like they're sleeping. They're like, how are they sleeping? It's so loud in here, but they're actually in a trance. Yeah, frequencies of drums bring the trance. Mm-hmm.
And so in these trances, because, you know, by all accounts, when I hear someone go into a trance, the average person would think, well, that's kind of scary. Like, what's happening to them? Are they being possessed, or like what's happening in the trance?
Oh, well, let me tell you, trances are very easy.
Okay.
But like this, have you ever been driving on the highway and you kind of start daydreaming and you miss your exit?
I do that like every day.
That's a trance.
I'm the worst person. I will end up in Alabama if you let me. I'm always in a trance then.
That's a trance. Mm-hmm. And so what's happening is you're still fully operative with your physical body, and you can actually do everything while you're driving, but your mind goes someplace else. So unconsciously, you're actually operating the vehicle, but your mind is completely in a different place. And that's where you begin to go into the trance state. But when you're in a trance, that's when the subconscious mind is very impregnable. So you can basically,
and that's when you start getting those downloads.
Yeah, and that's when someone can talk to you. If you're listening to the radio, it's going to go into the subconscious. So it's you know, going into trances while driving is not the greatest thing, but it does happen. But that's a simple trance. But when we go into meditative trances, it's much deeper, but your subconscious mind is wide open. So that is what a trance is. So if you've done anything like that, or just started daydreaming to the point where you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden you trance out and you're thinking about something else, and you don't hear what they're saying, that's a trance. So it's very different. Now, the shamanic trance, when we go in the deep trance, you might see my eyes roll back in my head. You might see me twitter and just kind of shift a little bit my energy, but then I'm linking into something different. So I'm leaving my body.
Are you giving messages when you go into those trances yourself as a healer?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So again, if they haven't been to your website, there's so much on there. We talked a little bit about the ceremonies. As far as services, like, is there such thing as like a shaman reading, or like, do they come to you? Like, is everything, well, I guess it's not all revolved around medicine.
No, the medicine is meditation and music. That's the medicine I revolve around. But yeah, if they want to, you know, this is the thing, that the website has so much stuff on it, and there's so many different modalities that I've worked through. There's what we call a discovery call. And it's on the front page of the homepage. Book a discovery call. It's 15 minutes. It's free. Let's just talk. Let me see what you have going on with yourself, and let me see how I can help you. That's the easiest thing to do.
I think I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah. And if you know that you need something like hypnosis, and you want to reprogram something, you want to stop smoking, you want to bring more financial abundance into your life, you might need a hypnosis session. Do that. If you want to understand more about what happened to you in a past life, book a past life regression. And I can take you into a hypnosis state where you go into your past life and you begin to see what happened to you that is most beneficial to what's happening in your life right now. And then we go in and heal that. So we don't just take you in there. I take you in, see what's happening. Then I actually will walk you through a healing through your unconscious, release it. Then when you come back out, you're literally a changed person. And that's a past life regression. Then you got spiritual readings and the spiritual consultation, where people can just book me for 30 minutes. And I basically will do a reading for you. And I can do it with cards. I can do it just intuitively, or I can do it through tobacco and smoke. It just depends on what somebody wants to understand. And sometimes if people say, well, you do what you do. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just tap in and see what I need to do.
You tell me what I need.
Exactly. and I help them out that way.
Beautiful. So one thing I do want to ask, because we keep hearing it left and right, and we are seeing it left and right in terms of the state of the economy or just the world as a whole. Yeah. And what I would like to ask you, especially you being a shaman, is what advice would you want to give humanity right now?
Stay out of fear. That's the main thing, because everything is happening to put us into a mindset of fear, which then separates us. And when we're separated, we can be conquered. Divided, we can be conquered. Together, we're united. We can't be conquered when we're actually together. So I say for this time, stay out of fear. And the other thing is, remember, you create your own reality. So if you stay out of fear, you understand you are creating your reality with your own thoughts, going back to that mentalism, then you begin to create something different, and you cannot be manipulated by the masses. But that's the main thing we have to do. And if people come together as conscious communities, you can begin to meditate as a conscious community, and you can begin to shift everything around you instantly. I mean, the power of meditation, the power of focusing an intent with hundreds of people or even 10 people, you can make major changes in specific situations. I don't want to go into naming certain things, but you can literally stop. It was like 100 people deep meditating can stop the detonation of a bomb. So that's how powerful it is. You can literally shut off the electronics. So that's because we're electronic. Remember, one human body can power a full city. So if you take that energy and you got 10 people and you focus all that energy into one thing, what do you think is going to happen?
It's going to be some sort of combustion or some sort of control, like you said.
Right. Yeah. And the combustion, if we start doing that, we make the combustion, and we create the combustion, which creates a new reality. It creates our reality that we're putting out there versus the one that's being predicted or put on us. Yeah. Wow, so I would say that is it. I mean, the main thing is stay out of fear and understand that you are the creator of your own reality, and come together as a community with many people with the same intent, the same idea, and watch how everything begins to correlate together and begin to shift and change.
Wow. I mean, that's just so beautiful put that way. And I do think, back in more ancient times, they did focus on community more. And they definitely focused on spirituality more. But now in 2025, it's very sparse. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And so being as though you have this mission and following, I think when we discuss this, you have certain groups that you're a part of and things like that, or classes that you teach for like more of society. So can you tell us a little bit about upcoming things you have class wise or group wise?
Yeah, actually, I'm teaching on the 25th a class on shadow work, which actually I teach you how to find the pattern that is creating the non-serving loop. So I'm going to be taking a group of people through an actual exercise that helps you to understand how to stop that loop, to recognize and how to stop it. The other thing I have coming up is a Reiki certification for level 1 and level 2. And I'll be actually teaching a shamanic perspective of Reiki, and it's a UC Reiki certification with a shamanic perspective. And I'm teaching some drumming rhythms and techniques with that. So that's like a 2.5 hour lesson of books and studies. And then it's probably about a 2.5 hour of actual practicum, where I'm actually letting you actually use the energies so that you can actually leave out of the session and actually be able to practice immediately. Beautiful. So those are the two things I have coming up. And I'll probably have a sound bath at the end of the month coming up. And I'll have a person that's going to be teaching Egyptian yoga while I actually do a sound frequency sound bath. And then we'll go deep into a meditation when the yoga is over. So, yeah. So those are 3 things coming up. I don't have a date. Yeah, but that'll be on the website, the last one. But the other 2 on the website now. And I do coaching and mentoring already. And those are under the services page.
And what type of coaching and mentoring? You mean spiritually or like professionally? Yeah. Okay.
Spiritually, I can do professional, because if you begin to clear out the spiritual issues and find that authentic self, a lot of times the financial begins to just follow through and follow with you, because one thing is going to create another block. And I want you to understand how one situation or one habit is creating a block in many different places versus just in your personal life. That same block that's creating something in the personal life is also creating something in your financial life as well.
Understood. And then in closing, I want to talk to you a little bit more about your retreats. So when are the next ones? Is there anything coming up for 2025 that people can still join, or are we closed out?
No, actually, I have 3 spots open for a trip to Jamaica, which is on
Jamaica. Okay.
Yeah. It's on the 25th through the 29th. And it's
March?
Of April.
Oh, I was like, cool, friend, that's close.
April. April. 25th through the 29th of April. And we'll be doing a lot of different medicines and meditations and deep healing down there for that, for sure.
Okay, so the details for how to join, pricing, and all of that stuff is on the website as well for the retreat.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so you have 3 slots left. For those of you who are lazy and don't want to get on the website to find the details, can you tell them from a cost perspective what it's going to be if they want to go to Jamaica in April?
Yeah, sure. They can contact me directly if they want to. Again, it's going to be in Portland, so we're going to be doing a lot of healing. And if they want to contact me directly, just reach out to oraclestouch@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to give you the information, or just book a discovery call, and I can tell you exactly where it is. And it's like 4 days, but it's only $2,500.
Oh, that is not expensive.
No, it's not expensive at all. So it's if people want to join, please come out and join. It's going to be a great experience. We will be doing 2 different medicines down there, and then we'll be doing deep meditations daily and healing work and integration work as well. Integration means once you go through the medicine journey, we basically help you to understand what you experienced during that journey.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, this has been a very enlightening chat. I'm super excited about bringing you back on to ask more questions, but I know you got to get ready for your big class in about 20 minutes. Yeah. Really 15. So, my show, this is going to air Thursday. So what is it that you're about to jump online and teach tonight?
Tonight, I'm going to be teaching shadow work. What is shadow work? How the shadow is actually created. And I have a system that I created called SHIFT, which is shadows, hiding, and fear and trauma. And I'll be teaching about the system, and we'll actually go deep into understanding the first 2 steps, which is recognize and realize. And you have to do those 2 steps before you can do anything in life. Recognize and realize and be aware of what's happening. Then you can begin to make decisions, because things can be happening haphazardly or unconsciously, and they rule you. But once we go through understanding, recognizing, and realizing, it's no longer haphazardly happening. It's a choice. And you have to choose to whether you want to heal or you want to suffer. And that's what I'll be teaching tonight.
I know that's right. Yeah. Well, I think he will be recording that. So for those of you who see this episode and want to go back and look at how that class went down, go to the website. So exactly. With that being said, I want to thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with us at Egyptian Eyes After Dark. It has been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to coming back.
Oh yeah, you'll be back soon, because we got to talk about some more of these medicines.
Yeah, and we have that drum circle coming up too. But
at Egyptian Eyes.
At Egyptian Eyes. Yep, we do. Right before the Jamaica trip. Yep, we have a drum circle.
If you've been following me for a while, we have some exciting news coming up for the drum circle. We're going to host some here at Egyptian Eyes in April. We're going to drop that date for you. So you guys stay tuned. Again, thank you so much, Shaman Rah. It's been a pleasure, and I will chat with you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Ciao.